Hi, Twyla Reed Rams. This video is about shades of meaning. Words can mean the same thing but have a different intensity. And depending on how you use them, you'll want to choose this word or that word, and you'll have more descriptive writing. Let's look at this little video about shades of meaning.
Hello everyone and welcome to LearNova. I'm Alex and today we're going to talk about shades of meaning. Words can have related meanings. They mean almost the same thing, but not exactly the same thing. They have little differences between their meanings, which are called shades of meaning. It can be a little bit confusing because you might think they are the same, but they are not. Shades of meaning show different intensity or manner. For example, some words mean a weaker action or feeling, but some other words mean a stronger action or feeling. Some words mean bigger in size, but other words mean smaller in size. Let's compare these words here. The word hop and spring. The words pleased and thrilled. The words peak and stare, and the words big and giant. What's the difference between those words? The words hop and spring are both ways to jump. That's right. If you want to jump, you hop or you spring. But spring is higher. If you want to jump higher, you spring. That's right. The words pleased and thrilled, they both mean happy. That's right. I'm pleased to see you. I'm very thrilled to see you. That's fine. But thrilled is more excited. That's right. Now, here's another one. The words peek or stare are both ways to look, but stare is to look for a longer time. The words big and giant both mean large in size, but giant is much larger. Well, could you help me find out the difference in meaning between the words watch and clock? That's right, both are tools to tell time. If you look at the watch, you know the time. If you look at the clock, you also know the time. However, a clock is bigger in size. You can wear a watch on your wrist, while a clock can be hung on a wall. I guess you got the idea. Let's check how much you've learned today. Scroll down, take a quiz. Good luck.
Okay, I'm going to stop right there. And let's go on. Can we practice with dazzling, shiny, and sparkly? All of these mean shiny or bright, but when would you use each one? Here's a car. You might say a new car was shiny. I got a shiny new car. It's the paint job. If you put wax on paint, it reflects the light and it makes it look shiny. Dazzling to me seems like a word you would use for jewels. These jewels are shiny. It's almost like the diamonds are giving off sparks. The ring is dazzling. And then sparkling, that would be for shiny lights. Maybe at Christmas time or when you see shiny lights on a house, the sparkling lights twinkle and blink. Let's practice with tiny, itty bitty, and small. Just take a moment and think about each of these words. When would you use itty bitty? Or think of an item that you would call itty bitty. How about small? When would you use small? And when would you use tiny? Itty bitty is usually used when something is cute or cartoonish. So these are little itty bitty versions of a superhero. This is an itty bitty Batman, an itty bitty Spider-Man. They're cartoonish or cute. Here's a tiny dog and a tiny house. I would say tiny is when they're smaller versions than the usual thing. Dogs come in all sizes, but this is definitely a very small dog. And that house looks similar to my house, but tiny. And then small, it depends on what you're comparing it to. I would call this girl small. She's probably much smaller than, say, her dad or even some of our second and third graders. But the dog is big because I'm comparing him to other dogs. So we would say the girl is small. Let's practice. On a piece of paper, boys and girls, we don't want you to print anything. It costs too much money. Ink is expensive. Just take any old piece of paper and draw this thermometer right here. You've all seen this, and it has a red temperature gauge inside there. And as the red goes up, it's hotter up here. So these words would have more intensity. So as I look here, large, big, huge, small, gigantic, I would put big toward the bottom. Big is just big. It's not very descriptive. But as I went up, what's more big than big? I'd say large. So I'd probably put large next. And what's more big than large? I'd say huge. And then of these choices, I'd say gigantic would be, we could say it was the hottest word of all. The hottest word. It's the most big. And then down here, the words that don't belong are small and tall because they don't describe big at all. Let's do one more and then I'll let you practice. For this one, this one's kind of confusing. I put small at the bottom and then we're going by intensity. What's more small than small? We might put little next. If you say, oh, that's a small child, it could be a third grader is small compared to their father. But a first grader is more small. A first grader we might call small or little. So we put small at the bottom and then little. And then what's even more small than little and small? You would say mini. And then in my mind, tiny would be the most small of all. You could maybe argue that mini would be the most small of all, but mini and tiny definitely are more descriptive. They're more intense, so you'd put them higher up here. Think of it as heat. More small would be more heat. And then I've given several examples. You just draw a little thermometer, and for these next three, you just put the words next to it in order of intensity as you think they belong. Remember, the more something is, it will go higher. Think of it as heat. And then two words do not belong. Write those on the side, words that don't belong. And just snap a picture, just an easy picture, and written on scratch paper. Just draw the thermometer with a pencil, and we just want to see how you do. Boys and girls, this is called Shades of Meaning.